Created with free version for non-commercial use.
Hey, what's up everybody? This is Jason with devslopes.com, and today I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can set up CSS in your project. So let's start a new project. If you're using brackets, go ahead, do the drop down, and I'm going to just throw this on my desktop. Okay, I'm going to call this Learn CSS, and we're going to open this up. So now we've got a blank project to start with. Right click on this left-hand nav bar here, click New File, and then create an index.html. All right, cool. So we're going to write this from the ground up. Okay, so go ahead and write in the doc type HTML. This is a good practice. This helps the browser identify your website
Created
as an HTML
with free
file.
version for non-commercial
And then
use.
let's create the HTML body here. And this is another good practice. Set the language to your HTML website. This way the browser knows what default language to load it in. And then let's go ahead and create the head of our HTML file. And inside the head, we're going to create a title. So Learn CSS. All right, cool. So that's all we're going to put into the head. And then we need a body for our HTML file, right? Everything needs a body. Cool. So that's great. All right. So we've got everything set up here. So what are the 3 ways that we can, put CSS into our project? Well, to learn how to do that, let's just create a basic header 1 tag. Okay. I'm going to take you through a few quick examples. Okay, so we're going to do one, header 1 called Let's Eat Ice Cream.
Created with free version for non-commercial use.
That says, I love CSS. All right, cool. Now, if you're using brackets, go ahead and hit the Thunder port here. This is going to pull up a preview of everything that we're doing here. So you can see that I've got a header 1 and a header 2. All right, and I'm going to hit Command Tab. It switches me back to brackets, okay? So that's what I'm going to be doing to toggle between the 2. All right, so one way to add CSS to your elements in your website is called Inline styling. And to do that, you're literally going to come inside the element and add the styling. And to do that, you would write style equals double quotes, and we're going to grab the color property and assign it to, let's do red. Now I'm typing out red because I can't remember the hex code for red. And you can do that sometimes, but remember I said I like to use hex code.
Created with free version for non-commercial use.
So let's check this out again, and you can see that it changed the font. Now let's go ahead and change this one. Style, let's do the color equals green. Okay, and end it with a semicolon. Okay. Refresh that and check that out. So it's changed it to green. So that's one way. Now let's go ahead and add another style. So let's add a border, and then you hit a semicolon, and let's do this 1 pixel, which determines the thickness. We'll make it a little thicker so you can see. 3 pixels, and then you can define a solid and then the color of it, which we'll do blue. Okay. And it added a solid 3 pixel blue border. Okay, and you can even change this to dotted. This is just some fun stuff you can do with borders to change it up a little bit.
Created with free version for non-commercial use.
Now you can imagine that if I'm building an entire website and I'm doing everything inline styles, that my website is probably going to start looking really messy. And another thing, what if I had a bunch of header tags throughout my website and I wanted to change them all from red to purple? I'm going to have to select every header 1 element and change the color on every single one of those. So inline styling is something you can do. I don't recommend it. So that's one way that you can add CSS to your project. Okay. Inline styling. Now the second way you can do this is within the head, you can actually add internal style sheet. And so what we would do here is would go ahead and grab the header 1 tag. Okay, I did something wrong. I spelled it wrong.
Created with free version for non-commercial use.
All right, so you can grab the header 1 tag, and then you're going to make some curly brackets, okay? And then we can assign the color to be purple, okay? So if we come back here, you can see that's purple. And if we wanted to grab the header 2 element, we could add the color to be, I don't know, yellow. Okay, cool. Wow, you can't even see that. Let's change the color. Let's do turquoise. That's a cool color. All right, cool. That's better. So you can do things like that. Okay, you can go ahead and add a background of what goes good with purple. Yellow background might go good. Okay, and there is a yellow background. So that's some basic examples of how you can do internal styling. Again, you can imagine if you're building this a big website,
created with
this
free
file
version
is
for
going to get pretty
non-commercial
long
use.
as you add different classes and everything, right? It's going to get really big. Again, you can do this. I don't recommend it. All right, now the third way. This is the way that I recommend. All right, so the third way of doing this is adding an external style sheet, okay? And the way that you do that is you're going to create a specific CSS file. So we can right-click on the left-hand side here, click New File, and I'm going to call this style.css. You have to have the CSS at the end to identify the file as a style sheet. Okay, cool. So now we've got a style sheet here, but we need our HTML page to communicate with the style sheet. We've got to link it so that we can pull in these styles from the external file into our HTML file. All right, and to do that, inside the head, we're going to add this link. We're going to link our CSS file here. And the relationship,
created with free version for non-commercial use,
is a style sheet. Okay, and then to link it, this is like the URL or the file path to our style sheet. You can see that it's bringing it up already for me, styles.css, and close it off there. So now with this line, we have just pulled in our CSS file, and this has to be put inside the head. Okay. All right, cool. So now we can come over to here, type in a header 1 for an example, and do a color. What colors do we have here? Let's do it this kind of fluorescent green, and then we can grab our header 2 element and assign it a color. Let's pick something fancy. Coral. Coral's cool. All right, and then we can switch it up here, and we've got our green and our coral color.
Created with free version for non-commercial use.
Pretty cool, right? So those are the 3 ways that you can add CSS to your project. And for this entire course, this section, we're going to be using an external style sheet. So cool, we've got the template here. Go ahead and delete the styling in there, and we can delete this example stuff here. So that's it. That's a wrap for this lesson. Let's move on.
Created with free version for non-commercial use.